Okay, so start off here today, you need to go to your Google Classroom and look for our animation effects classroom assignment. And inside the assignment, you're going to find a file that says new animated runner for Unity project. And if you remember, you have to click on that file, and then you might need to click on these extra three dots for more actions in order to get the download option. And you can download that to your computer. And then we're going to open up Unity, and inside of Unity, you're going to be able to build that package inside of a brand new 3D URP project. So remember, we have to open up a brand new 3D URP project. So usually we select inside of our Unity hub, clicked on that new project, and we want to use the 3D URP for this one. So we're using the 3D URP. And you're going to be able to just name that as your alien animation. So that's going to be your alien animation. You're going to open that file, and it's going to load into a brand new open scene that's going to be blank. And what you're going to be able to do in order to get to your files is that downloaded file that you just downloaded, the downloaded file that we're using for the sample scene is going to show up in your downloads folder. So that if you went back to and we downloaded that folder, it's going to download it to our computer. And then, as I said, inside of Unity, you're going to be able to click on that download and download that new animation runner, and you'll be able to drag it right into your assets folder, or click on your Assets tab at the top of your new project, and you can import that package. And if you import that package, you'll be able to import that newly downloaded package called our today that we just downloaded, and you'll be able to open that up. So that'll be that brand new scene for you to use. Okay, so once you click on that and you bring it into your folder, you will be able to open it, or if it doesn't load the actual full file, it should say in the bottom here inside of Assets, New Animations. And it'll be this little square shaped Unity package, and you can drag that package right up here into the hierarchy, and you'll see that it'll load the whole scene. Right now in the scene, you'll have a character, which is named Zombie Idol. You'll have some background panels that have been placed for you. If you go to the game view, it should switch over to the camera view looking square on. And also, if you look at, there's going to be something called a spawn manager. That's going to be something where we're going to be able to put some elements to show up on our scene. So to start off, the first thing to do is we're going to look at all of the folders. So there are some extra folders here inside of our assets. And inside of our assets, we are going to see that there's some folders that are new, an animation folder, which we've used, but this is going to have some components we're going to use today. There's going to be an audio source folder. That's going to be something you're going to use today. There's going to be a scripts folder, which we'll just be looking at, but you won't have to write any scripts for this, and some prefabs folder. So to start off, let's click on the prefab folder, and you'll see that there's inside the prefab folder, there's another folder called obstacles. That obstacles is going to be the items that we want to have come across our scene. So you can add more if you want, but for this example, we have set up right now in our scene, there's going to be a rock formation, there's going to be mushrooms, and there is a ground balloon that are all set up with the rigid body and a mesh collider and the script called move object, and they have a speed attached to them, which can be used to make our objects travel across our scene as we hit the play button, so in our game mode. So we're going to put some of these items inside of this item here in our hierarchy called the Spawn Manager. So I'm going to click on Spawn Manager, and you'll see inside of Spawn Manager, there's the script called Spawn Manager Script, and it has element obstacles 0. It says no game object. these items here that have been added, these are going to be the items that appear on the stage when we hit the play button. Because right now, if we hit the play button, nothing is going to come across our character's standing position. So if we hit the play button, right now nothing is going to spawn towards them. We can hit the space bar and nothing will happen with the space bar because we haven't added some of those elements to make our character jump. So right now, inside of our spawn manager, we're going to make sure we're inside of that prefab folder, inside of the obstacle folder, and we're going to click on spawn manager, and I'm going to add in rock formation into the first space. I'm going to add in ground balloon into the second space, and then I'm going to add in this mushrooms into the third space. And now if I use that and I save my file save, and it'll save it right now as a name. I'm just going to call it new animation. And I'm going to hit the play button. We're going to see that now when we have our items, there's going to be in our scene items that will start to appear on the ground. And there's our first item. It is a balloon. So the balloon's coming across. And these are the items that we put into the spawn manager. So if I wanted to have different items or items that were in different locations, I would have to make some changes to my script. So right now my balloons are dragging on the ground and they just push my character off the stage. So nothing happens when they collide with the character. But that's the first step. So we're going to make sure that we have added some of these items to our spawn manager. Now, if we wanted to go one step further, inside of those items that I've saved inside of the prefab obstacles, like the rock formation, if I look at this rock formation right now, inside of the move object, it has a speed indicator on it. So I can change the speed of those objects. If I want them to travel faster, I can make them travel faster by increasing or decreasing the speed. So if I want some objects to come towards my character faster, I can change the speed. And I can do that for each one of my objects inside of these prefabs. So that's one thing that I can do. If I wanted to make, say, a different object, like let's say I wanted to use this big rock, and I want this big rock to be an object that comes towards my player, the one thing I'd have to do is I could add that first to my hierarchy, and it's going to appear inside of my scene setting. And there's the big rock you can see way off to the side. And inside of the options for my transform, I would be able to move my item just closer to see where I want to look at it. Maybe it's going to come towards my subject or my character. I could change its size, smaller or bigger. But if I wanted this object to come towards my character as a potential hazard or something they have to jump over, it's missing a few of the items. And I would have to add those using the add component. So if you want to make other items or another item you might add to your scene come towards your character, you're going to have to add that item called a rigid body. And if I type down in the add components, rigid body comes up. That's one item I have to add. And I have a mesh collider, a rigid body. And I'm also going to make sure that I have checked off this convex right here. So it has this convex mesh collider option checked off. And the last thing I need to do is this item does not have any script attached to it. It's missing that script. So I would have to go back to my assets folder, look for my scripts folder, and find the script that says move object. So that's this one here, move object. It moves a rigid body. This is the object that's going to move, or the script that's going to get my object to move. And if I click back on that big rock and I drag that move object script from the folders into the actual inspector panel, it's going to say open prefab, and then I'll be able to add that inside of a prefab. So I'm going to say open and then drag it in, and it'll add it to that object. So now that object has the ability to be added to one of my items inside of my spawn manager. So if I wanted to now, I could click on spawn manager, hit the plus button, go back to my prefab folder, back to that obstacle folder, and now it says big rock, and I could click on Spawn Manager again, and now I could drag that into the third item that is going to spawn on the table. So now if I hit play, that script should drop that rock. Just like it has other items, it should drop a rock now that's coming towards my character. And the character's not going to be able to probably jump over that rock, but as an example, that's going to be one of the items. So let's see you give that a try, finish adding those items, and then we'll moving on to making our character jump.